Hey Zen Nation, Shama here. On today's show, I give you 7 tips to building an amazing personal brand. Welcome to Shama TV, the only channel on YouTube completely dedicated to marketing and the world around it. The term branding has long been relegated to companies, but today almost every individual has a personal brand. Not many of us have consciously cultivated those brands, but they exist nonetheless to our friends, colleagues, and bosses. According to an AVG study, 92% of kids under the age of 2 already have a digital footprint. The question isn't whether you have a personal brand. You do, trust me. It's about how do you cultivate a strong personal brand. So here you go. Number 1, start thinking of yourself as a brand. What do you wish for people to associate with you when they think of your name? Is it a certain subject matter which you want to be perceived as an expert in, or general qualities you want linked to your brand? Once you understand that, you can start to be much more strategic. A strong personal brand can yield tremendous ROI, whether you're working within an organization or leading one, but you've got to start thinking of yourself as a brand. Tip 2, audit your online presence. You can't mold perception without first understanding your current status. In other words, Google yourself. You need to know what others are seeing if they decide to look you up. Have a fairly common name? No problem. Consider using your middle initial or a middle name to completely differentiate. Creating a strong personal brand is also just as much about being responsive as it is creating intellectual property. Third tip, secure a personal website. Having a personal website for yourself is one of the best ways to rank for your own name in the search engines. It doesn't need to be robust. It can be a simple 2 to 3 page site with your resume, link to social platforms, and your bio. You can always expand on the website with time. In today's world where an average person has 5 or more social media accounts, it's nice to have one single source for someone to get to know your brand without having to spend the whole day investigating. Tip number 5, find ways to produce value. We've all been there. Someone in your network posts something utterly mundane or ridiculous, and you wonder what compelled them to do so. A medium is not a substitute for a message. I repeat, a medium is not a substitute for the message. Find ways to add value to your audience by creating or curating your brand that's in line with what you want to stand for. Tip number 5, be purposeful in what you share. Every tweet you send, every status update you make, every picture you share contributes to your personal brand. It's an amalgamation of multiple daily actions. Once you understand how you wish your brand to be perceived, you can start to be much more strategic. Tip number 6, associate with other strong brands. Your personal brand is strengthened or weakened by your connections to other brands. Find and leverage strong brands which can elevate your own personal brand. Start with the 3 C's, company, college, and colleagues. Which school did you attend? Are there groups you can join? An alumni newsletter you can contribute to? What hidden opportunities are available within your company which you have yet to tap? Consider submitting a guest post to the company blog or look at other digital assets that you can connect your brand to. Tip number 7, reinvent. A strong personal brand is dependent on a strong narrative. In other words, what's your story? Take a second to think of celebrities you know who have a strong personal brand. Think Mark Cuban, Martha Stewart, Richard Branson, even Kim Kardashian. They all have a very clear story and a consistent brand. If you have multiple passions or areas of interest, a narrative becomes even more crucial so it can be a unified theme. If you need help defining your story, I highly recommend reading Reinventing You by Dorie and watching an interview I did with her. Most importantly, remember that a strong personal brand should be ubiquitous and ever-evolving. All right, guys, that's it. I'll see you next week for a very special Halloween edition of Shama TV. Until then, remember to market like a Zen master.